Hi, Top Billin. So you remember when I talked about the Seahawks offseason and I did the video where I said they batted 1,000? And you had some people in there go completely bananas because they were still reeling from the artist formerly known as Seattle's QB not being there. When I was talking about setting themselves up for the future and being able to mitigate circumstances. So have they done that? Listen, I know it's still early, but to me it does not have anything to do with that because you can see the nucleus with the young players going on there with Tariq Woolen, with Kenneth Walker and Kobe Bryant, with the tackles able to perform up to snuff, very young early in their career. And then people forget, listen, I don't consume any Seattle media. I'm not a Seattle fan. I don't pay attention to anything Seattle besides when that weekend comes, I'll watch the game and do a film study on it. So only thing I know is by what people coming to my channel saying. Everybody kept saying the Seahawks suck and they weren't going to be able to keep DK Metcalf. Then I saw, hey, look, they re-signed DK Metcalf, one of the best players in the NFL. And then telling everyone how good Geno Smith could be, at least in the interim, you're able to at least see how it could be with another QB in the future or even Geno himself in the future. But then I run into this right here. All right, hold up. Before I get to that, I got to double back because I see a lot of Johnny-come-latelys on my man Eat at Geno's right about now. You got people everywhere, people sending me stuff. This person said this and that and that. Geno's getting all this attention. When you had some fans actually come up here and telling me that I should talk about Geno. It's like always new people are the absolute worst. Like, do your research. What do you mean? Nobody was talking about Geno Smith and giving him props before me. This ain't this year. Look at this right here. Come on. Are we forgetting? Or do you guys not do research? I'm the one talking about it wasn't Geno's fault in the preseason games and all of that. I'm the one talking about a year ago, Geno Smith spread quick game perfect for this offense, a quick decision maker, which we see. That's what this offense is predicated on. I just didn't think the artist formerly known as Seattle, that's not his style of offense. He needs to be in a different type of offense. It does not make him worse than Geno Smith. It does not make Geno Smith better than the artist. It's just about fits. Styles make fights. Listen, when they re-signed Geno, I said Seahawks not going away quietly. QB Geno Smith is back 6 months ago. And people said that I was dumb, right? 11 months ago, Geno Smith's fresh coat of Seattle Seahawks paint. Accurate, swift decisions. That's what that offense is predicated on. And now that I've seen it, right, I'm not going to say that Geno Smith is the greatest thing of all time, the greatest thing since sliced bread. There are upgrades over a Geno Smith in the NFL, period, right? So you would think there would be some potentially in college. But now seeing this is not even something that I was thinking about or could even fathom. Seattle right now, if it happened today, if the draft happened today, Seattle would own its first pick, Denver's first pick, the 5th pick in the draft. What? The 5th pick in the draft with a team that I just said has potentially, well, we know they have one franchise-looking corner, young corner. They have another corner that seems to be a nice do-it-all type of corner. Maybe a guy that you would put in the nickel slot. You could go for another cornerback with that 5th pick in the draft. There are some guys out there that's going to be very good that's coming out right there, but you don't even have to do that. You could leverage this pick against other picks and accumulate even more picks because to me, Seattle is not a team that's in dire straits, if you get what I'm saying. Having the 5th pick, but listen, like I said, it's early. Maybe Seattle loses the rest of his games and I look like a complete idiot or whatever like that. But to me, I wouldn't even look like an idiot then because you can see what it could be as far as the future. 2 tackles in one draft. Mafe, I thought looked pretty good. You got, of course, the corners that I was talking about. And then you have, right now, would be the 5th pick and also the 13th pick? What? These guys said that the biggest needs are D-line, wide receiver, and linebacker. Linebacker, hell to the yeah, but I wouldn't draft a linebacker with the 13th pick. That's just me talking right there, right? Obviously, I'm not drafting for a team. An off-ball linebacker, you can see usually the best throughout the league are usually guys not picked in the first round. It's just one of those cut and dry positions like running back. It is pretty much running back of defense. Now, you don't even have to use a 13th pick on a linebacker. A wide receiver, yes. A roughneck like Rakim Jarrett paired with a freaking DK Metcalf, Dennis Rodman Jr. himself. What? That would be hard. No doubt about that. I feel like that type of receiver needs to complement or be opposite DK. Just going on here. A couple of switch releases. You have Ty Felton right here, kind of on the in-breaking route. CJ Dupree, switching with him, coming out here. Just probably running traffic and interference right there for the in-breaking route for Felton. You got Jumping Jake Copeland out here, and you have my man Rock. So Jumping Jake right here coming on a stop route. And then you got Rock right here straight torching people. This is how we do it right here. My man Rock getting the rock here from Talia Tagovailoa. Oh, look what happens to my man right there. Ain't nothing nice going on. Come on, man. For switch release on 4th down, it's causing your man right here to fertilize himself, trying to stay in man coverage. They should have banjoed this, right? They should have played zone defense within man principles and switched off here. But they tried to keep up with Rakim Jarrett, running to the flats, and my man right here blows a tire. All kinds of shit happened. I believe his Achilles rolled up into his hamstring, which rolled up into his ass, which rolled up into his back. So that's right there. That man was partially paralyzed. You can see right here that man's done, stiffened out, and we'll more on him later. Look at foot all fucked up and shit. But look, rock out in the open field right here. First man never going to tackle this man, or very rarely if it's in the open field right there. Slips out on that man, steps out there, boom, spins on him. Luckily the cavalry's coming in, look like he got tripped up right there as well. But we can see my man right here. He's still over there. Look at that. He flame broiled his knee off. Look at that shit. It's down to the light skin meat. Ooh, boy, that's just hard. Listen, but beyond that, that was just a rehash of something I did earlier on Rakim Jarrett. I do a proper film study on him, but there's plenty of people outside of Rakim Jarrett, like a Keyshawn Boutte at LSU. There's 3 wide receivers at the University of Tennessee that would look good next to DK Metcalf in a huddle. Beyond that, though, I would still go defense with the first 2 picks. However, if you wanted to go offense with that number 5 pick, actually before that, defensive line. I'm not exactly sure who will be available here, but there are some guys that I feel like Seattle could use help at edge still and in the interior portion of the line. You can never have enough interior linemen. You guys should know this. At one particular point in time, you guys had a crazy-ass rotation back in like the Michael Bennett days, right, with Cliff Averill and all those guys. But that's definitely where I would go with this particular pick here. Now, I did not know Geno Smith was only under contract for this season. So that puts a little bit of something in there for me here. But if Geno were the answer for a few years, however, you can see by the way he's running and everything, he's got a ton of football left in him. He's not like he's been out there taking hits and everything. He looked actually a lot more athletic than I remember even earlier on in his career and even in college. That 5th pick right there could be Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, who already plays in a 3-4, one of the best edge, if not the best edge player in a 3-4 I have ever seen in college football. No doubt about their sub package. This is their nickel package. So you have Will Anderson here at a 6 technique. Now, keep in mind, I talked about white-collar sacks versus blue-collar sacks on the last one when I said Alabama could heat Florida up like an ironing board, and they did exactly that. White-collar sack will be where you get the quarterback in his normal pass set. A blue-collar sack is where you're continuously working and you eventually do get to the quarterback. It may not be all you're doing. Maybe somebody flushes them and you can you can continue to work, and then you get your way to pay dirt that way. So white collar sacks is pretty much usually your own doing there. So we see him here. Check this out. Definitely a white collar sack going against Turnstile. Delance there. Hit him with the hezzy. Boom. Fertilized my man Kyle Trask right there and caused a fumble. One more time, full speed. Hezzy. Of course, Gene Delance going to get too far over his skis, start working his feet like he always does. All right, so in keeping up with the QB series that I said I was going to do for you guys, I talked about it last week and asked you guys what would you like to see done with those 2 picks. And some people still said quarterback. So I told you I was going to kind of go in a row and kind of count down to like my number 1 quarterback. I did something on Hendon Hooker just because of the circumstances of him playing Alabama and having to get that done and get that out there before the Georgia game. But Hendon Hooker is a guy that I was going to have on the list after guys like Will Levis, and I already did KJ Jefferson and guys like that. Hendon Hooker, coming into the season, I was debating. This is my guy who played for my Virginia Tech Hokies before he transferred to Tennessee. Debating at putting him close to number 1 if he was able to replicate what he did last season. The only thing that kind of keeps me from putting him at number 1 is his age. A lot of people think he was just born in Tennessee. Nah, he was with the Hokies for 3 seasons. My man, it will be 25 years old by the time the draft rolls around. 25 years old. But he plays exactly like Geno Smith. I mean, exactly like Geno Smith. Kind of a mix of Geno Smith and Jameis Winston for me. So if you want somebody with that type of innate accuracy that Geno has, the same type of athleticism that Geno has, maybe a slightly better athlete, but not really, in my opinion, now that I see what Geno can do when he really opens it up and throws a really good deep ball. This is your guy, kind of a refresh of a Geno Smith, about 7 years younger. And then Hooker with that maybe the 13th pick, depending on how it pans out, or I don't know, maybe lower. I don't know. We'll just have to see how the draft process goes here. But you can see here, man, 15 touchdowns and 1 interception. Last year he had 31 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That's why I was saying, why is everybody just hung on pause? Why is everybody all up on Will Levis only? I like Will Levis. I like Will Levis a lot, right? But I said don't just focus on one quarterback. There are quite a few franchise types in this draft. That man, Caleb Williams, next draft. Remember, I said if you don't do this draft, there's several next draft as well. These guys could be number 1 2 consecutive years, but it's going for this particular draft here. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, maybe KJ Jefferson. He probably would need to come back, or I'm not sure. His team is not as talented as it was last year, no doubt about that. And, man, Tyler Van Dyke, these guys, man, I'm Anthony Richardson, perhaps. Maybe he's in the next draft with Caleb Williams. So you have options. That Quinn Ewers kid from Texas, that's another option for the following draft. So if you can focus both of those picks on defense and then go and get a franchise quarterback the next draft, or roll with Geno, like I said before, they batted 1,000. They could be right back quickly, super quickly. Actually, let's look at it from this angle. Front-facing play-action fake, hitch, and Yaka. What? Come on. And the Hooker is cold with the vert game. He's cold in the mid-range and quick game. His accuracy is unbelievable. I teased it before in another video. He might be my number 1 QB in all of college football that's draft eligible. Yes. Might be that guy. He is that good, and this offense suits him so well, much better than the offense had him at Virginia Tech, at least the last iteration of it. But we see the front-facing play-action fake right here. Everybody doing a pretty good job here across the board. A little bit of an inside breach, but he's able to navigate that, kind of slightly slide out, but definitely hitch up a little bit there just to deliver the pill. Now, I see the problem here. The Crimson Tide are still in nickel personnel. So if you're in nickel personnel and you see how wide those splits are, as far as the wide receiver alignment. Like those are some really crazy splits. That's that old school Big 12 type John right there. Very much reminiscent of an air raid type offense and everything like that. You got to be able to counter that with your dime package, because you don't want to get a safety matchup on a freak like Jalen Hyatt who can absolutely run. Jakob, look at the separation right there. Hey, man, he said the pandemic ain't quite over in his mind. He needs 6 feet at all times of separation. All right, so let me know what you think about that number 5 and number 12 pick. Remember, obviously we have a long way to go. Both picks could change, but I just found that crazy to think that Seattle is in the position that it's in now and can accumulate picks like that in one draft. What? Come on, man. And also, make sure you check out the full film study on Hendon Hooker. I'll link it here at the end. All right? It's your boy Mid-Atlantic Murph. Strike the band.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.